What's up? What's up, everybody? Our favorite event in all of Summoners War is back, and it's better than ever. Actually, my favorite event is actually the rune crafting one. Who's with me on the rune crafting one being their favorite event? Raise your hands. Now put them down because I can't see you raising your hands. Anyway, one of the best events is back, and it's better than ever. The default 4-star summon event, where you get points by farming and doing arena and stuff like that. And then you trade those points in to uncover one of the 4 stars of whatever element board you want. Well, we could just go take a look at it, right? You uncover one of the 4 stars of whatever element board that you want, and eventually, whatever monster that you really want is going to get uncovered, and you're going to be able to summon it. Fantastic event. Everyone that's missing, like if you've been missing a Lucian, if you've been missing one of the twins, if you've been missing a Galleon, if you've been missing all these, Triana, if you've been missing all of these super meta relevant units for a while, and don't sit there and tell me like, oh, finally after 5 years, I can finally get a Lucian. BS. There have been several of these events before. Why do you still not have a Lucian after 5 years? That's what I want to know. What are you picking from these events? Well, I had to pick the Windharg. What? Why? Why did you pick the Windharg? Pick Lucian, for God's sake. Anyway. Default 4-star summon event. I just had to say that. I'm sorry. I had to get it off my chest. Anyway, default 4-star summon event. Let's go through and see what you have to do. How to acquire point. By the way, this is my Asia server alt, and the event just started. So by the time you're watching this, I already got plenty more than the 750 points that we needed. Use 1 energy is 1 point. Use 1 dimensional hole energy is 5 points. By the way, it accumulates 1 every 2 hours, so you should have 12 accumulate per day. If you use all 12 of those, that is 60 points. So that's 60 points right there. Check-in is 100 points. So if you check in, you use your dimensional hole energy, that is already 160 points. You only have to do 590 left. Use arena invitation tickets are 10 points each. Summon a default 3-star plus monster is another 10 points. I mean, you just summon a bunch of monsters and get the easy points, but that's kind of beside, like, you only do that if you're a whale, right? You really only do that if you're well. Or if you've been saving a whole ton of crystals. That I don't even think about doing on any of my accounts. I'm like, summon default 3-star monster may as well not even be on the list, because that's not how I operate. And a lot of people cannot afford to just summon to complete the event, right? So we don't even think about that. We think about the check-in. We think about the dimensional hole energy. That's already 160 points to do, or 160 points down. So you have 590 left. If you do your 10 arena, like you wake up, you do your 10 arenas, like the rivals and stuff like that or whatever, you get 10 times 10. That's 100 points. If you go throughout the course of the day, at lunchtime or whatever, you have 10 wings again. That's another, spam your 10 wings, whatever. That's another 10 times 10. That's another 100 points, right? You have another 10 by the time it's time for bed. That's another 100 points, right? So there's basically 300 points just with arena invitations alone. So then you have like another 290 that you can just use energy, 290 energy, and finish out your 750 for the day from that. 290 energy, that's like, that's like okay, let's say you have 90 energy. For example, let's say you didn't even buy the $5 pack to get the 100 energy. By the way, that's if you ever see people that have 100 energy max, and you're like, how do they do that? It's the $5 pack, right? It gives you 100 energy for, I think, 2 weeks, right? So anyway, if you just have the 90, and you do the 90 that you get at the beginning of the day, at lunch, your energy is filled up again, you do another 90, and then before bed, you do another 90, and then there's like, the energy that just accumulates throughout the day. You should also get energy in your inbox that you can just use there. I mean, it should be super, 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 super easy to do that much energy. If you're not doing that much energy, I mean, honestly, myself, on like all my accounts, is doing way more than energy than that in refreshes. Anyone doing KB5 is like, oh, it takes me 30 minutes to max out to 750 without even doing arena, without even doing dimensional hole, without doing anything like that, right? They go through so much energy, KB5. Anyone speed running like really, really, really fast, giants or dragons or necro or whatever, with a really fast, like very fast, efficient team. They're blowing through this like crazy, right? So there should be no problem. Like, you shouldn't even have to, for free to play, you shouldn't even have to refill crystals or whatever. Just do what the game gives. The game refills your wings throughout the course of the day, refills your energy throughout the course of the day. I just wanted to mention that as well. Okay, so we have this event number 1, summon a default 4-star monster. Available summons, because we already did, we need 500, I believe. Yes, you can select the attribute of your choice, fire, water, wind, to summon 4-star monster when you for 500 points. So you should get like roughly 1.5 summons per day of these 4 stars, right? Select whichever you chose to water summon. No, select whichever one you want. Like, let's say you really want a Lucian, click on the wind summon button, and one of those 4 stars will pop out, right? It may not be Lucian, but you just click the button again tomorrow after you've accumulated more points, and you should be able to do every 2 days you should be able to do 3 summons on this. And then in addition to that, what makes this even better than the last time we had this event was we can also do LD3s. LD3s. Very nice. So everyone's excited to get a Miho, and everyone's excited to get a Lin. Excuse me. I don't know that those are necessarily the best 2 monsters. Oh my god, don't hate me! Oh! I don't know that those are necessarily going to be the best 2 monsters that I would go for. They're very good monsters, but Miho is a pretty relevant monster. I think if you don't have a Miho is a good idea. The Lin, though, there's a lot of stuff that can replace Lin. And we're going to go over like what the other things that I think you should maybe consider before you just lock in that Lin. Like, I need Lin. Never got a Lin. I need Lin. She's a good unit to do big damage to boss type units. By the way, she doesn't work in Rift of Worlds like a lot of you think that she does. For like the Ice Beast and the Fire Beast and things like that. Because the damage based on enemy max HP doesn't quite work the same, since they basically have unlimited HP. That's nerfed, right? So Sigmaris and Lin don't work quite the same in there. So you actually have a better, you'll do more damage using things that do damage based on enemy debuffs, right? And then put a bunch of debuffs in groggy state and then do that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to mention that. There's also other things that are good for dungeons that are not necessary. Like the twins. If you don't have the twins are great for dungeons. Lin does a lot of damage. She's good also for TOA bosses. She's good for the Hall of Water, but she's not necessarily like the best unit that you're going to use all the time every single day. She's a great unit for Giants V10, but there's a lot of different things that can take her place, right? Not just like, oh, I need Lin to do a very fast Giants V10 team. It's like, no, you just build a second Crow. I mean, you build a second Crow, you build a lot of other stuff, right? You build Water Twins, Lucian, and throw a bunch of Water Twins in there and you're solid, right? So there's a lot of different things that you can use. Not necessarily that you need to go for all the time Lin. We also do get a Reap, we also do get a Devilmon, we also do get all this stuff. Let's go take a look at my... I'm like talking so much, man. Let's go take a look at some of my recommended units for... well, we may as well just... see what we actually, let's see what we need on this account as an example, right? Like generally, like, okay, let's see what we're missing. Is there anything we're missing? We're missing a Fire Gargoyle, we're missing a Fire String Master. They're not super meta, we don't need them, right? Let's see what we're missing on this water. We're missing a Water String Master, so nothing too crazy, right? Over here, we are missing a Wind Chakram. We're missing a Windharg. Guys like, yeah, man, you should have got that Windharg like I did last time. Wind Gargoyle, which is actually, people have been saying some good stuff about him. Wind Anubis, which was just buffed as well. We might go for, like, maybe the... this might be fun to go for. We might go for the Wind Anubis on here, actually. Because this is something we don't have, right? So on this account, we have mostly everything. So that's kind of a different story. For these LD... no, Darian. Bagel, how do you operate without a Darian? Well, this is an alt, so, like, I never bothered getting him early game. I never, you know, it wasn't really a big thing. No Dark Vagabond either. No Dark Griffin on this account, so we may consider Dark Griffin. But this account's actually a little bit of a different scenario because, like, we have a lot of the stuff I would recommend already on it. So we may go for like the Wind Anubis just because we don't have him. Let's take a look. Actually, before I go through and say like what the good things that I would recommend are, I want to plug my other channel. I know. Oh, Bagel, we got to plug something. There is a lot of people that still don't. I just assume that you guys know about my second, third, fourth, fifth, 19th, 75th channels at this point. For those of you that don't know, I'm just letting you know. YouTube.com/Bagelmon. We do like Epic 7 stuff, and then we do other mobile games as well. There is another channel which I really haven't talked to anyone about. People just found it, and I was like, oh yeah. YouTube.com/EverythingBagel is just stupid stuff. It's just stupidity, all laughs, all jokes, no video games, just stupidness for the sake of stupidness. There's also oh, Bagel, you're telling people about OMG Food? Oh, wait, what decade are you going to post videos on that? YouTube.com/OMG So, YouTube.com/Bagelmon, YouTube.com/EverythingBagel, and YouTube.com/OMG If you want to check out some more stuff, my stuff, you don't have to. Don't feel obligated. I'm just letting you know that they're there. Anyway, let's go back onto the actual content of the game. I feel bad plugging like other stuff, but then like people are always like, I don't know about this. Why didn't you plug it? I'm like, because I don't want to like always be plugging something. You know what I mean? That came out wrong. Listen, that came out wrong. Anyway, things to consider for this event. How often will you use each unit you are considering? Are you considering is the choice between a Galleon and a Triana? Okay, Galleon versus Triana. Are you going to be using Triana all the time? Like, for arena offense, for Guild Wars, for like, because you really not use Triana too much for arena offense, right? Or like ever. I don't know. I don't think I've ever used Triana for arena offense. I think someone I know had a Triana offense. It was like a shield will cleave team with Triana, right? But that's like that one situation. What else? How often are you going to use the Triana? How like are you thinking about like, oh, I'm going to get a Triana for RTA? Are you doing RTA a lot already? No, but one day I will. Yeah, but in the meantime, if you're choosing between Tiana and Galleon, maybe it's a better option to go for Galleon, because if you're going to use him in a bunch of dungeon teams and you're going to use him for arena offense, you're going to get a lot more mileage out of that Galleon than Triana, right? Just my 2 cents as far as that's considered. Don't pick units that are available from guild shop pieces. You will eventually get them regardless. So Barbaric Kings, right? Like Ajir, Kreisvelg, Surtur, things like Rakshasas, things like, I know you guys very excited to get that Vertiheel from the event. Fusion unit, plus you get them from guild shop pieces. What else? Jack-o'-lanterns are available from guild. I don't think anyone's really getting jack-o'-lanterns from this event, but just in case you're considering some of those things like Death Knights, all those things are available from the guild shop. So the guild magic shop, so eventually you'll just be able to get enough pieces to summon those. I wouldn't focus on those. If you don't have a Lucian, pick a Lucian. That's just, if you don't have that. Can I just say that 5 times? If you don't have a Lucian, pick Lucian. Don't think about it. Why I said before that people are like, I've been playing for 70,000 years and no Lucian. Like, this event has already been a thing twice. I think it's twice. You should have a Lucian by now. Why are you not picking Lucian? Don't complain about Lucian and then not pick him, and then complain about not having Lucian, and then make your selection towards the end of the event. So this may not, like, you may not think about this too much. You may think like, oh, I got the monster that I want. I'm gonna get it now, and then I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start using it. There's still a month left. There's over a month left of this event. I think it's 36 days or something like that. 37 days. You may summon the unit that you want over the next 37 days. That's like, maybe you didn't do TOA this month, do TOA next month, do TOA hard, do some guild stuff, some guild content, maybe open one of your box, like, oh, you got like this scroll, that scroll. You may get the NAT 4 you want, right? You may get the LD3 that you want. So consider doing the, confirming it towards the end of the event. At least consider, right? At least consider that. Okay. Yep, that's it. Okay. What I would pick. Lucian. Sabrina and Talia are just, you could use Sabrina and Talia in everything. I put Sabrina and Talia over the Galleon because Galleon is for, like, giants. You can use Galleon giants, you can use Galleon dragons, you can use Galleon arena offense, you can use Galleon in Guild Wars, right? So you can use Galleon a lot of different things. For also the dimensional hole as well to farm like some of those different things. There's some Galleon teams. speedy galleon teams. So there's that. But Sabrina and Talia, you can also use in the Rift of Worlds for like a few of the beasts, right? Like the Dark Beast. You can use those there. You can also use them in Giants, Dragons, Necro. They do big single target burst damage. You don't really need the Lin if you have the Sabrina and Talia, right? I'm just letting you know that. But like I said, Giants, Dragons, Necro, some of the stuff in the Rift of Worlds. You can also use them in like Guild Wars and stuff like that. And most people that have Sabrina and Talia are like, yeah, I know, we all know. I wouldn't really use them as much in Arena Offense. I would use Galleon much more in Arena Offense, you know, Tiana, Galleon, whatever, in Arena Offense than I would use the Twins. But the Twins are still going to be so relevant for a little bit more farming stuff than Galleon. Lucian you just use everywhere. Shayna is really good as well. I know people are like, oh, Shayna's not as good after. I mean, she isn't as good after her nerf like 6-9 months ago. Probably like 9 months ago at this point. I don't know, a while ago. But because she was really OP. She's still good. She's not as good, but she's still good. Shimite is a great unit for Arena Offense and for Cleaves. I would definitely consider building a Shimite. Picking a Shimite if you don't, especially if you want to like climb an arena. He does a lot of damage. He's got a 24 speed lead. I still like him more than a Camir. I think a lot of people that rush arena would probably agree with me. Yeah, Shimite is a really, really solid unit. He's got a speed lead. He's got a strip. He's got damage based on speed. He's got a strip and attack H pushback. He's got an AoE. He's got a lot of stuff. Tyrant is another great one. Tyrant's got a lot of control. Another arena speed lead. I wouldn't use him as much for rush hour, but I would use, because you get a little bit percentage more speed lead with the Shimite. But I would still use Tyrant for like RTA especially. You definitely do a lot of stuff, a lot of nasty stuff with the Tyrant in there. Also for Hall of Heroes, for TOA, Tyrant is great for those. Really solid. He's got a lot of control. If you're like, I want to get a Varad, consider Tyrant. He's better than you think he is. If you're like, I need Varad, if you ever think that you need Varad, consider Tyrant because he's very, very good. Draco and Triana. So, depending on your playstyle, if you like to cleave way more, like for example for RTA or whatever, if you like to cleave more, I would go for Draco. If you like to play like slow and steady response, not just like cleave, then I would consider going Triana. They're kind of similar in the fact that they're both immunity units, but they're not that similar. I just decided to put them at the same. I don't know why the same on the list. It's not a set in stone like these are the top 13 monsters. It's just like things that I would consider. Like if I'm going to choose on one of my accounts, I'm like, do I have this? Do I have that? Do I have this? Do I have that? Go down the list and like whatever I don't have, I'm like, okay, I'll pick that. Just based on my playstyle. Maybe you guys have a different playstyle, which is totally fine, right? I'm just saying what I would pick for me. Covenant is great. Ignore defense. Big damage. Big damage. Skill 2 strips, by the way, if you don't know, if you don't have Covenant. He's got a lot of damage. He's got strip skill 2, and his skill 1 ignores effects that reduce the enemy's damage, like, for example, shields. It ignores shields. It ignores invincibility. It ignores things like that. So that as well. Skogul's another great pick, right? Antares is another great pick. He was a Hall of Heroes. If you were not around for a Hall of Heroes for Antares, he's a decent monster to get, right? I thought actually at first he was from Guild Shop, like you get him from Guild Shop, but then I'm like, nah, he's not actually available from Guild Shop. But yeah, Skogul's another great unit. Tetra is another really solid unit. I think that Tetra is underrated because I think that a lot of people think about Tetra and they're like, oh, she's just for RTA against Gianna and Nephthys. And it's like, that's one use for her. She's also really good for some other stuff. She's also Tetra. One of the reasons I don't really care too much about Veramos early game is that Tetra's a really solid unit for Dragons B10. She's similar to Veramos, right? She's a 4-star. You don't have to fuse her if you just happen to get her early game. You could stick her in a Dragons B10 like an early game Dragons B10 team, and she'll cleanse the dots just passively, right? She'll cleanse the dots, and then she's got a skill 1 that strips. She can strip the immunity on the dragon. So, and then she's got a cleanse skill 2. She cleanse and do shield on one of your squishies, right? One of your squishies. So Tetra's actually a pretty decent unit for that. Tetra's a pretty decent unit. You could stick her in some siege teams every so often, like especially against the the light paladin. You could take her in against. I mean, there's a few other places that you can use Tetra. Is stuff in the dimensional hole, like places that you don't really see too many people. Like you see Tetra as like high level RTA players using Tetra, but then there's all these other places that you can use Tetra. So she's similar to Verboss, but she's a Nat 4, and it's easier to skill her up with other well, the other mermaids are good too. But I just think Tetra is so underrated. And Isail, really another underrated unit. That water second is 24% speed lead, attack age reduction, sleep, and yeah. There's more. I mean, I could just keep listing them. Like I said, I'm going to stop now because I'll keep going. Really good units that you can get from Guild Magic Shop. Julie Purees, Yen Rakshasas, Ajir BKs, Verd Vampires. Like, you can get those, all those. I wouldn't choose any of those because you can get those from the Guild Magic Shop. Okay, let's move on because I'm talking like crazy. LD3s. LD3s. What are you focused on trying to do more, right? What do you need them for? Are you trying to do... For PvE, for dungeons, do you really need extra help? Because I know a lot of people want to do the Lin for PvE in the dungeons, but you don't need her. If you want her, then go for it, right? But you don't, just know that you don't necessarily need that. So keep that in mind. Halia is pretty decent for, Halia is the Dark Harpy. She's got a defense break skill 1. She's got a defense break and brand on skill 3. A lot of people don't skill up her second skill because it's just the stun is not really good for, it's not really anything relevant for PvE, for dungeons and things like that. But there is a lot of people that have pretty fast speed runs using Lucian, Halia, and big single target DPS. Like Lin, but you can also use other stuff as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be Lin. Jamie's another pretty decent unit. He's got a 3-turn attack power buff, and he also has a cleanse, right? And he's got ignore defense, first skill, 2 shots, ignores defense, and then second skill with a lot of hits, potentially random amount of hits, but yeah, he's a pretty decent unit for like Rift of World stuff because he's got a 3-turn attack power buff. If you already built the Dark Vampire Lord, you don't have to worry about Jamie because Dark Vampire Lord basically already does a lot of the same stuff. But he also has a 3-turn attack power buff and some sustain sores and a couple of debuffs and whatever, and a dungeon leader skill. I'm getting way too into it. TOA, Wound Hack, Mentor, Basalt, they're good control units. They will keep the enemy from getting a lot of turns, make them all fast with decent accuracy and tankiness, right? For TOA, for Wound Hack, Mentor, Basalt. For PvP, this is the one that I think you should focus on now. Bega, why didn't you say that one first? Because I wanted to get the PvE ones out of the way first, right? You don't need those. There's a lot of different units in PvE that you can substitute other things for. PvP, Miho. Great unit, solid unit, one of the best defense units currently that you can get. You can do a lot for your defense with Miho. She can be really annoying. She can steal you matches. Same thing with Antares, can be really annoying and steal you matches. If you already have Miho, Kabila. I think that not enough people are giving Kabila credit as a very solid unit to use for or to pick for this event, because she has 120 base speed and she has an attack power booster for arena offense. She's one of your best choices for this current meta of 33 speed lead and Triton. She's one of your best choices. Not enough people are saying, hey, consider Kabila. Everyone's like, Miho, 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 Miho. Consider Kabila. If you want to push for arena offense and you need to outspeed those Tritons, consider her. Ashir is another unit that is honestly a little bit underrated, and I don't really see enough people saying Ashir. Everyone's like, Miho, 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 Miho. Miho's a great unit. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there's other really good units, right? And some people already have Miho, and they're like, what else? What is another good option? Because I already have a Miho. Xiaoling, Light Cat. Underrated, actually a pretty decent bruiser, and she does I think she does attack age reduction. She's got she gives herself a revenge with her skill 2. It's pretty decent, and she's got a stun, and she's got a lot of different stuff. Light Cat is underrated. She's pretty fun to anyone that's built her, right? The people that don't build her are like, why would I do the Light Cat? The people that built her are like, yo man, Light Cat's pretty good. Light Cat's not that bad. Drago. So Drago is the light golem. Drago is really nice against some of those Guild War Guild Siege defenses where you need, or where they have Odin, right? They have Odin for the defense, and Odin's like, I'm gonna one-shot one of your things and ignore defense. Well, Drago takes 5 hits to kill, right? So Odin can't one-shot him. Consider that. Varys, the Dark Griffin, is another solid choice. He's pretty cool. Shren, there's another reason that I think Shren might be a good choice here. Shren has a ignore defense, second skill, slice through the enemy, ignore defense. Third skill is a cleanse and HP balance. Shren is a pretty decent unit. Her base defense suffers though. Her base defense is kind of lacking. So she's kind of like easy to kill even without a defense break. That's one of the things with the Shren. But she's a really solid unit. Really solid unit. Walkers. Walkers has a speed lead for... Walkers is the light bounty hunter. He has got a speed lead for light units. He also has a skill 1 ignore defense. Double hit percentage chance to ignore defense. Skill 2 has a strip 1 beneficial effect and increase attack gauge by 50%. You know, it's... You increase the attack gauge regardless, but he's mainly for the speed lead. And then the third skill stuns and sets the enemy's attack gauge back to the full amount, right? For walkers, the light bounty hunter. So, pretty decent unit for like, pretty decent unit. Speed lead, and you could even put him on Swift and be like, and that's basically like, if you have a Swift walkers, like, let's not even say 300 speed. Let's say 280 speed. It's like more realistic to get than 300 speed. But he has his own speed lead that he can apply to himself, basically. And that's basically a will rune check, right? Like you're going into a battle with the enemy. If they don't have will runes, then you're gonna stun them and set their cooldown back to the max amount. So Walker's a pretty decent unit. Tiankin, Light Drunken Master, is a pretty good unit as well. He's got ignore defense first skill. He also and an attack power break, and he also has some sustain in his kit as well. And then Joltan has a second awakening. He's also not available from secret dungeons, and he does reflect damage to the enemy, right, based on his HP. And he also has the defense break, and he has a stun, which is pretty decent. And he's got a Guild War leader skill of speed. That's a lot of stuff. I'm trying to get all this information out, man. I'm trying to get all this information. I just want to like give you guys the most information to try to make an educated decision. So there is that. Okay, the reason that I said, being if you're like, yeah, man, I'm getting too old for this. The reason that I said that Shren might be an interesting unit to pick up if you don't already have her is that we also have to think about what is potentially going to be next Second Awakened monsters, right? So we should be getting another Second Awakened round at some point, right? Pretty soon-ish. I don't know when exactly. Come to us. Who knows, right? Who knows? They're like, oh yeah, 2 years from now. Like, oh okay, come. Yeah. Well, that's what they do. Very likely Harpy, Garuda. No, not Harpy. That's supposed to say Harpoo, not Harpy. Harpoo. Poo-poo. Harpoo, Garuda, Yeti, and High Elemental. Those are very likely for the next Second Awakens. I did mention this in another video, but I think a lot of people didn't see it, so I wanted to mention this again. There is someone, I don't remember exactly who, because it was a while ago. I'm sorry, it was like months and months ago. That did like a thing on Reddit, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you know what? These are the most likely Second Awakened units because I noticed something that in those rune farming dungeons in the Dimensional Hole, there are little waves of minions that you have to fight against. So like pixies and fairies, and like, oh, those are the units that are already being. We already have Second Awakens for those. We have the griffins, we have the werewolves. We have the warbears, we have inigamis, we have all these other things. It's like we have Second Awakenings for all those. So logically, we say, oh, we're noticing that all the different monsters that you fight are the monsters that also are Second Awakened in that same dungeon. So there is other monsters that are also there. Yetis, Harpoos, like I said, Harpoos, not Harpies. These are in the Stinky Beastmen or whatever, the rune farming dungeon, the cliff of the sweaty Beastmen. I don't remember. It's one of those. It's one of those things that's greasy Beastmen, something like that. I don't remember the exact name, but anyway, these are some of the units that you encounter. So if we extrapolate that last knowledge of, oh, these are units that we have Second Awakenings for, we can say, oh, these are probably a good chance that these are going to be the next Second Awakened units. So consider some things like these, maybe getting Second Awakenings next. And when you choose, like, if you're like, oh, I got a lot of these things, but I don't have an LD this. Some of these are actually available from secret dungeons, though. These, just to point that out, these Harpoos and the Yetis are all available in secret dungeons. And then these ones. So Tion's not available in a secret dungeon. Just FYI, you get him from the beginning of the game, but some people fed him. He's a pretty solid unit for like just increasing your Lucian, like just increasing the attack gauge of Lucian to 100%, and then for a fat Lucian, right? But you could use the same thing with Konamiya. But just throwing that out there, that is potentially going to be one of the next Second Awakening monsters. And then what else? Yay, High Elemental. I mean, they have the Undyne in here, which is kind of like, that throws everything else off. But all the other monsters that are, not all the other, but there's a lot of other monsters currently that are in here that we got Second Awakenings for throughout the last couple Second Awakenings. So consider that. Don't start thinking that we're going to get Undyne Second Awakenings, right? But the High Elemental is very likely. The Garudas, the Yetis, and the Harpoos for next Second Awakening. So consider Shren seems pretty cool. Shren seems pretty cool right about now. She's got Ignore Defense. Big Ignore Defense. She's got a Cleanse and a HP Balance with the third skill. So, yeah. Not that bad. I'm excited at the potential. Not saying it's confirmed or anything, but I'm just excited about the potential of, like, some of these units are... the Dark Elemental is kind of poo-poo right now. If she gets a Second Awakening, they're going to buff her a significant amount. So, anyway, just food for thought. That's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I didn't mean to make it a 30-minute video. I never do, but I just always want to get as much information out so that you guys can make educated decisions. And again, these lists are not that one. That one. These lists are based on also your playstyle. If you have a different playstyle, if you're like, I really, really, really like Ignore Defense. Like, if you really love Cleaves and don't like Control, and you're like, I don't like to do the Tyrant thing, I'm going to do Covenant to Draco, I love that, right? That's going to be higher on the top of your list. If you're like, I don't like to do Control, Assail's not going to be on the list for you, probably don't care about Assail. I think Assail's pretty cool, though. But based on your gameplay style, what you like better. Anyway, that's it for this one. I talk so much. Anyway, like I said, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you as always in the next one.